And that's 1372, and we're on 1, so we're good to go. We're going to process this data. And now I want to go ahead and we want to zoom in on this data, so we'll take these guys here. What I want to show you is what the difference was. Before, all we had was ripples, 3 ripples to 2 ripples in each box that were all the same size. That would indicate that the crank sped up, slowed down, sped up, slowed down, and sped up within 1 cylinder box. That's an indication that the crank sensor is loose from the crank. Remember that the crank wheel gives me a physical quantity. It's attached directly to the crank. As it's rotating and I'm picking up the magnetic intensity and it's changing it, that gives me where each trigger wheel is. The only way that it can be going faster and slower is if the trigger wheel is in movement and it's not attached firmly to that shaft. Now what we see is the crank trigger wheel is attached firmly. And remember, this test is testing the physical condition of that sensor. Now look at this. Now we can see where we clearly at top dead center, each one of these pink marks represents top dead center. I clearly accelerated and I deaccelerated. The fuel fired and it accelerated. I went up and I caught the air on the next cylinder and I started to compress that air and the crank slowed down. I fired the fuel, I accelerated, I deaccelerated, I accelerated, I deaccelerated, I accelerated, I deaccelerated. Each one of these movements of the crank, as I fire the fuel, it goes faster and then it compresses the gas, slowing it down, and then it fires. If I have a misfire, the whole crank will slow down. Now this isn't missing right now, but this shows that that crank trigger, it's attached, and that means that we're doing really good. So this car is fixed.